Please join me in welcoming our mayor, Tommy Eschete. Our community's small. Unlike the parish and probably in Lafourche Parish and Terrebonne, we don't have tons of projects. But when we do, they affect everybody. And so what I'm going to touch on today basically is what's kind of happening in the city of Thibodaux. And if anybody in this room doesn't know that we have a project on North Canal, then evidently you've been in a coma for the past 8 months. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. And if you had, stop me at any point in time. If you want, you had a question about it, just stop me. I'm flexible. Again, one of the things that came forth this year that we thought was real important was for us to review our fiscal strategy for the upcoming years. And it was evident a few years ago that we knew we had what we felt was a revenue problem. And we wanted to make sure that we didn't have a spending problem. Right, Dee? Like some people in Baton Rouge, we didn't have a spending problem. So for 2 years, we actually reviewed what was going on in our annual budget, and we decided that our issue was more of a revenue issue. But we didn't want to simply move forward and just ask John Q. Public for more money. I felt it was important for us to engage with the community. So back in 2014, we initiated the concept of going through a community input and to create what we thought was a committee who could help us decide whether we needed really more revenue or whether we needed to reduce our level of services and if that would be acceptable to our community. So anyway, we actually created that committee. We had 35 members of the community, which ranged from individuals at Thibodaux Regional, Nickel State, our business community, our banking community, just a few John Q. Publics involved in there, but we got a great response. And we actually met 3 times to discuss the issues surrounding what we felt was a financial dilemma. It was a great process. One of the processes was actually facilitated through DEQ, who helped us along. In the last 2 meetings we facilitated on our own. But to get the feedback that we got back from the community over that period of time, which took about 2 years, was something that I experienced that I really didn't anticipate. I thought maybe we'd get some excitement initially and then it would fade away, but that didn't happen, which meant to me that our community is very much involved with what goes on day to day in the city of Thibodaux, and that they truly did not want to see our quality of life diminish. That was so important to them, and that ranged from everything from recreation to law enforcement. So, we got the message right quick that they didn't want us to reduce services. So the next thing was sell it to the city council, because in all honesty, we had to go to an election, which meant that they had to put it on the ballot. And I want to applaud the council for taking that leap of faith and calling for a sales tax proposition. Believe me, in today's day and time, that's not a popular thing to do. And it took a lot, both on my part and on the council's part, to take that leap of faith and say, let's go ahead and do that. And they did. They cooperated with us. I can't tell you that they all voted for the sales tax proposition, but they did vote to put it on the ballot. And that's all I asked them to do. And lo and behold, it passed in March of this year. I want to thank Laurie for helping us with that on signing impromptu and how we needed to go through the process of making sure that our public was as informed as they possibly could be from beginning to end. And we did. I thought we did a good job of that. More importantly, what really impressed me is we had a group of people that approached us that formed a political action committee and actually supported the passage of the adoption of the sales tax. We were a little leery that it was in a March election because typically you get maybe 7 to 10% turnout. But as usual, our citizens came out in force with almost 30% turnout, and it was approved. I think it was like 55 to 45%, which everybody said, "Wow, that's fantastic." Well, I'd have loved to have seen it a whole lot more than that, but in all honesty, we kind of take what we can get in today's days and time. What is that going to do for us? It'll generate somewhere between $2.3 and $2.6 million a year that's be dedicated to our general fund. And that covers everything from recreation to capital improvements to law enforcement. So in all honesty, now the actual allocation of that funding is going to be left up to the council in their duties as a fiscal administrator with the city. But I can assure you those dollars are going to be well spent. We have a backlog of capital outlay projects we'd like to see done, and more importantly, we have to maintain that quality of life, which fits in that sector of recreation and law enforcement. And today in law enforcement, I don't need to tell everybody how important that is, that we give our men and women in blue the tools they need to protect us, to keep us safe. So we're going through a budget process in November. I'd love to see those council chambers full, although I know not too many people come to our meetings, but we would invite you to keep posted on that. First week in November, we'll start that process and probably have our public hearings, I think, second week in December. So, and of course, our proposed budget will be online for everybody to see. And if you can make hide the hair of it and you have a question, just give us a call. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Everybody asks, when's the sales tax start? So for people who have been shopping since July and you haven't felt it yet, guess what? It already started. So it's not that bad after all, you know. So we actually started back in July 1. We'll probably start realizing the proceeds in our September, I think, check from the school board. I looked up on LATA, which is Louisiana Association of Tax Administrators, and I looked up, try to pop some up here to show how it's going to affect our region. After I put on there, I didn't like it too much. So what we're going to do is, this is really the breakdown of our city taxes. We're now paying sales tax 9.9%, 9.95% in the city of Thibodaux. Of that 2.5% is the city. Now, because our friends in Baton Rouge and I'm keep you off that list, that went up another penny. Now the state is 5%. The Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office, which I don't think Craig's here, but actually it's 0.2% is going to retire the debt for the construction of a new correctional facility, which we know we needed really bad. North Lafourche levy and drainage district, which Dwayne is associated with, had a 1/4 cent sales tax that went up. Is it 2015?
1 year ago, July.
And then of course the 2% for Lafourche Parish School Board. And the other taxing districts, how does it affect, I guess, us, the people here going out of unincorporated Lafourche is 10.15, Golden Meadow is 10.4, Home of Terrebonne is 10.5, and Lockport is 10.15. So we still actually the lowest sales tax rate in our area. And if you go outside our area, I think if you go into Jefferson Parish, New Orleans, it'll be even more than that. So, we're not driving people away from the community to look for lower sales tax, but we think we're kind of where we need to be, and hopefully somewhere down the road the state will get its fiscal orders together, and maybe that 1 penny will go away. Anybody have any questions about the sales tax? Any at all? I don't mind stopping and touching base on any of that. Again, I was very satisfied and proud of the people who worked with us to get that adopted and passed. More importantly, the people who called and gave us some really educated questions about it. And the good thing was we didn't get a whole lot of questions, so evidently we did a good job getting the word out about what it was about. Again, if you haven't seen our project on North Canal Boulevard, you're in for a treat. If you want to go out there right now, you're in for a bigger treat, because it's hard to get out where you need to go. If you start somewhere around Rienzi Drive, you probably got to go all the way to Glenwild and turn back to get into Walmart. So, it's a little hectic right now there, but it'll get better soon. We actually met with the contractor, Barrier Construction, who I will tell you, I don't toot horns for contractors much, but I will tell you, they have done an outstanding job out there. And from what I gather, we got their A group, thank goodness, because I heard in Terrebonne they didn't get their A group over on Hollywood. So I'm sorry about that, guys, but I'm sure glad they're in Thibodaux. But they have done an outstanding job with us. They've handled every issue we've thrown at them. That crew has been outstanding, and they're on schedule. And according to them, barring any unforeseen storm or anything, they should be finished first week in September, which is about a month away. So as we move toward the end of that project, we still do get some questions about it, and a lot of people ask about how was it funded. Well, back in 2010 when we took office in December of 2010, we had about a little over $1.7 million in capital outlay money allocated. I don't remember if it was priority 5 or priority 2 money, but it was in capital outlay set for that project. When we met with then DOTD Secretary Sherry LaBaugh, who I will praise as I begin to talk about continue to talk about this project, working with Dee and Brett and the other people at DOTD. Our original scope was actually from Rienzi Drive to Glenwild Drive. If you know where that's at, that's from Taco Bell to Lowe's. That was the original scope of the project. When we went in to talk, Dee had set up some meetings so we could go face to face with Sherry, and we actually sat across with her for a couple of hours. And as we began to develop the project, she began to take more and more interest in it. And we actually got a few more capital outlay dollars budgeted, thrown in there. I think was a transfer from some of the monies that were originally targeted for Tiger Drive Bridge. But since we got that project fully funded, we were able to move some of that money over to this project, which increased it to about 2.19. Of course, all capital outlay projects, for those that I'm preaching to the choir here, some people know, some don't know. Those projects require a match from the local governing agency, which is 25%. The good thing about it was we felt like we could afford that, but only for that first phase. After we continued discussions with Sherry, she said, we got a pile of federal safety money, highway safety money that's available out there, and this project would fit that to a T. And I think that's something we can look at. And working together again with Dee and her, we actually blew this project up into a full-fledged project that went all the way from Highway 308 to St. Patrick Highway, and the initial estimates were a little bit over $10 million. Which said I think that's great. Now I got to try to come up with 25% of that, which was tough for us. Fortunately, we again worked hard with her, as I understand it. And Dee, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The good thing about it was those federal dollars, those safety that didn't require a match. So our match was down to about $800,000, and through some innovative financing, we found a way to get that funded through our local road transfer program, where we actually transferred one of our local roads into the state system, and they gave up a part of that. They gave us credits for it. So we took that money along with the federal highway money, the actual pool that was coming in from capital outlay, and we had our funding source for that. The project came in at bid, I think, in October of last year at almost $10 million. And the best part about it, I like that last line, the actual cost to the city of Thibodaux was $0. So we took what was supposed to be a $3 million project back in 2010 that was going to cover about 1.5 miles or about a mile, and took it to a project that's almost 2.4 or 2.5 miles at a cost of $0 to the city of Thibodaux, which was fantastic. So, and I have to again, thank Dee for all the efforts they gave in getting this. But, the staff that we had working, I know Lucy Esposito's not here anymore, but she was very instrumental in getting that funding, working with us on that. And again, I will tell you, there's not too many people that I miss in state government, but I will miss Sherry LaBaugh. She was one of the best, if not the best secretary that they've had there in a long, long time. Very accessible, very knowledgeable, because she came up from the ranks, and she did. I think because of her and our communications, that's what made this project happen. So I'm so proud of the fact that we were able to do that again from a project that it was only a concept to something 6 years later, and we knew it would take a long time to become a reality. What's going to be new on North Canal? Okay, so I've learned some new words and some concepts here. We will no longer have a traffic signal at the entrance to Walmart. We will now have what they call an RCUT, which I just found out about a year ago is a restricted crossing U-turn. What is that? Well, in actuality, if you can picture this road coming out from Rienzi subdivision and the other road coming out from Walmart, that's going to be what's going to be at that intersection. So you will not be able to cross North Canal Boulevard, but will actually have to come out of those, make right-hand turns, make a U-turn, and go back the other way. Again, when you had a signal that had about a minute and 40-second cycle, believe me, you can turn right, make a U-turn, and get to Walmart a whole lot quicker than a minute and 40 seconds. And now we'll have the traffic continue to move because you won't have a signal there. So even though some people think that may be a bad thing, I think it's going to be a good thing. It took them a half an hour to convince me because when they told me they were taking a lot out of Canal, I said, you can't do that. I said, yeah, you can. And they explained to me it does make sense. And you got to understand this whole project, even though we got our naysayers out there that are talking about how bad they think it's going to be, and I hear it on Facebook. I get emails that aren't nice, and yeah, we do get emails that are not nice. They say how stupid we are for actually building that project, but in all honesty, this is all about safety. It really is. It's a safety-minded project, safety-minded design. All the new design technology, all the new designs that they have built into it is all federal highway safety design. So it's new stuff to us, but believe me, I'm confident that it's going to work. Another one is a J-turn. What is a J-turn? Well, in the old configuration, and we do have some sections on North Canal still going to have an open median where you'll be able to just kind of scoot in there and get out of the way of traffic best you can. But on the new section between Rienzi and all the way to St. Patrick, you have a J-turn, which means that you get into the turning lane and then have to make a U-turn to go back to where you want it to go. But what does it do? It takes you out of the lane of traffic. For those people who don't think their trucks are that long, you know which ones I'm talking about, that stick half of their bed in a lane of traffic. This will get them out of that lane of traffic, won't bog down traffic. So again, it's a safety issue. Last but not least, we are adding on, it was sort of an afterthought, but a turn lane to go on to St. Patrick for those people traveling southbound from Chack Bay area, friends in Chack Bay that want to get on the St. Patrick Highway, allow them to actually get in a right turn lane and get on to St. Patrick without having to stop in the southbound lane. The other, the other design feature on here is to take the traffic off of St. Patrick that wants to go northbound and actually give them a speed up lane, sort of like at 90 and 182. You guys that go to Saints games on Sunday like I do, that's my little speed up lane to get in there. So we've sort of, again, a safety issue here. The only thing I wish we could have done is take that 4 lane and bring it all the way to the river, but I guess you and I ain't going to see that happen anytime soon. Any questions about North Canal? Any at all? I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And for all of those who are asking, and we've had quite a few phone calls, what are you going to do with the milled material, meaning the old asphalt they mill off? Believe me, it's all spoken for already. A lot of people think they're just looking to give that stuff away. It's not so. That stuff is like gold. So I wish we could, but it's all gone. The next project that is in, again, we're getting close to go to bid on this. This has been in the design phase for going on probably close to 6 years. And it's a project that when we came into office, realized if we wanted to continue the development of North Canal Boulevard corridor from a business standpoint and from a residential standpoint, we needed to increase our capacity for wastewater treatment. Meaning that everything we have, including everything on the north side of the bayou, actually goes to our plant on the south side of town by the high school off of Talbot. And believe me, even though it can handle treatment of about $3.5 to $4 million of wastewater a day. Like everybody's system, there's so much stormwater infiltration to the system. We get a bad rain, we're getting 10 million gallons of water in that plant every day, which means that we got to hold it and treat it at the rate we can. But we have a holding lagoon, but it's showing the system showing its age. And of course now we're looking at having the capacity to handle what is the growing part of the city up on North Canal, and we felt it was time to look at the addition of a new wastewater facility. So this facility is going to be built north of the city, off of LA 20. For those people who know where Andelsek Park is, it'll be further back there. It's sort of be out of sight, out of mind. But we are close to going to bid on the first phase of that. And I want to give kudos to a couple of firms. Our design firm on North Canal, we were lucky enough to get choose a local design firm. Duplantis Design Group is the design firm on that project. On this project, T. Baker Smith is our design firm on this project. So between the two of them, we're putting out somewhere between probably close to $20 million worth of projects in our local economy, because it's going back to local firms. And they have done an outstanding job working with DEQ. Believe me, this has not been an easy project. North Canal is a piece of cake compared to this from a design standpoint. And the biggest problem we have, of course, when you talk about wastewater, it all has to be approved by DEQ, which is not so bad. But when they find the wrong types of plants out there and somebody decides we have a wetlands problem, then we have to go through the Corps. And I've learned in the last 6 years, I never, really thought a whole about the Corps engineers. They prevent flooding and all this other good stuff. But I know there's a lot of people out here listening to me that, you say the Corps, that gets to be a nasty word. And in this case, it was a nasty word. We've been fighting over a couple of acres of property, a few acres of property. And just in this area, and we look out, you can go out there, that's all pasture. It's under pasture right now, and they have cows grazing on it. I think, Jimmy, tell me if I'm wrong, just in this project alone, it's going to cost about $265,000 in mitigation for a couple of acres or so of property. But it is what it is. So, again, kudos to T. Baker for helping us through those processes, and we're going to bid. I think, August 16th is our pre-bid conference, and then on the 30th, we'll take, I think, phase one of the project, which will be bid in phases as we go. But it's going to allow us to have capacity for wastewater for the next 20 to 25 years, which is so important as we continue to develop the North Canal corridor. If not, and what we've done without it, basically shut down development on the north side of town, which to me was unacceptable. Again, another process, we felt like we had to take the leap, just like the sales tax proposition, take the leap and do it. And again, with the council's help, we've been able to tackle this through rate adjustments, and we're on our way to seeing this plant come online maybe in about another year and a half. Jimmy, is that right? Somewhere around there. So all good things, and this is another good thing. It's a special long-term project for us. It'll have long-term effects, at least for the city of Thibodaux. Anybody have any questions? I must be doing a damn good job because nobody has any questions. One of the things also too that we have learned about in the last 6 years is traffic circles, or some people refer to them as roundabouts. I saw them in California around where my brother lived for a while. Anybody who's going to New Orleans, if you haven't been in Lee Circle, well, I don't know where you've been living, but I mean that's a good example of a traffic circle. And now you go to La Berge up around Baton Rouge, a new casino, you see them around there. And Youngsville, I think the mayor has a bunch of them in town over there. They work well. And is it hard to teach Kunas how to get in and out of a traffic circle? Well, it may be, but I guarantee in other parts of the state they have learned, and it's a great alternative to a traffic signal. In this particular application on Jackson and Canal, I don't know we could have solved it with anything else in a traffic circle. That's a 5-legged intersection with traffic emptying in from Gerald T. Pelche, from Canal, from Thompson Place, and from Jackson, and it's just a mess. I mean, everybody that lives around here knows that too. This will hopefully alleviate that problem. The states moved this project back a little bit, even though it's in the design phase. Design firm has been selected. Fortunately, nobody local, but all that being said, we went from an 80% cost on this to 100% cost on it. So we have no construction cost to share on it. All we have to do is actually do property acquisition and utility relocation. So again, we're looking at about a $2.1 million project. At least that's the estimate this past year, and at very little cost to the city of Thibodaux. But I think it's going to be, I really do believe it's going to be a good thing. it will slow traffic down without stopping it, and I think really it'll be a lot less confusing once everybody learns how to navigate a traffic circle. And believe me, it's really, really not that hard. That being said, we actually have another one that we've been discussing with the university. I know, Doc, we hadn't talked about it lately, but it's a traffic circle, a single line lane traffic circle at Ardorn and Audubon. For those of you that maybe don't know where is that at, that's at the intersection where Charter Max School is and the parking lot for Ellender and Betsy Io building. It's at that intersection, and it's a very simple traffic circle. It will do away with the the two-way stop, allow traffic to continue moving in that area without stopping it. And it's a very, very simple design, as you can see by the illustration on the side. And it'll allow traffic to move in those, during those peak hours, during the lunch hours, when the dismissal for the school, and for other times, maybe during football games and stuff like that when we have activities on campus. But we're real excited about that. That has been totally funded through our local road safety program through the state. It's only about $100,000 or so project, because there's not a lot of work to be done with it. But I think it's a whole lot better than the alternative, which would have been a traffic signal or having a police officer sit out there during peak hours. And again, the design is pretty simple. On this particular project, it did get pushed back. They were looking at this year, it got pushed back to 2017. Hopefully we can get them to push it up a little bit. And Doc, don't worry, we'll coordinate it with the school, hopefully with the school being out of session. But it really should be a really good addition to campus and in that area for traffic flow. Okay, then I guess we'll move into what I've been dying to do for 6 years, and that's some street improvements in the city of Thibodaux. Again, because we got an influx of some dollars through our sales tax proposition, but more importantly, we got the opportunity, and I see Kevin in the back, and working with the Home of Thibodaux Metropolitan Planning Organization, had an opportunity to grab some dollars through their program and do some street improvements here. Now, we couldn't just pick whatever streets we wanted to do, but we actually the streets that classified that we were able to include in that program were North Acadia Road, so it's an access point, or I guess an exit from the hospital area, but it's a highly used road, and it's in pretty bad shape on North Acadia. St. Patrick Highway was just taking the brunt of the traffic for the smart people who don't want to go on Canal Boulevard. It's kind of getting beat up right now, so we're looking at that area all the way from Highway 308 to Glenwild, and possibly beyond that, depending on how the bids come in. On Audubon, I know, Doc, you know that we got a couple of roller coasters on Audubon that we need, and those are some base failures that we need to correct there. Plate of Court is a street, a concrete street in Acadia Woods that is just basically falling apart. So from safety issues, we need to take care of that. East 7th Street is, of course, a main thoroughfare that feeds our public school systems and E.D. White Catholic High School from Canal Boulevard to that area, and it's showing its age. So, you and I might not feel it that much, but those kids riding on those buses do. I can guarantee you that. But it needs to be to be overlaid. Harrison is a small collector street, as is Isabel, and West 10th Street, again, the same thing. Good thing about all this is the fact that we've leveraged our resources, our revenue sources with those MPO dollars, which is about almost $1 million. So we're doing a $1.7 million project for about $700,000, which is a good thing. So again, we've leveraged those dollars with some grants and some MPO money, which makes it allow us to stretch our dollars a little further. I got to applaud Thad for working, Thad Angelos, who's our economics development director, working with them on that project, and being able to jump on top of it as soon as we knew those monies were available. And I know, I'm looking at Henri, I know when you say something, I need it now, and they say, look, if you can do this now, we can help you out. Well, that was one of those projects where they said, if you can do this now, we can help you out. So, again, with the people who helped us plan and get those numbers together quickly for them, we were able to secure those dollars and work towards that. All I did, that's what's going on in the city of Thibodaux. We have a lot of nice other things that are happening because we're able to actually plan to do some capital improvements in this year's budget. I think you'll see some facelifts in our recreation department that you'll like. I think you'll see some improvements to our buildings that you probably will not notice, but I guarantee our employees will. And more importantly, we'll be able to continue to fund law enforcement in the manner that we have. And if you think our law enforcement professionals, especially our chief, doesn't know where every nickel goes, he does. And you know, so yeah, he's already into the budget, and he scrapes and for every penny he can get. And look, since Brian's been here, we've scraped up some dollars that I never thought we'd find. Thanks so much, it's appreciated.